Let me show you how to make some incredible chipotle chicken over rice. And I'm gonna show you how to make the homemade sauce. That bite was packing flavor. To start, we must thin slice some boneless, skinless thighs, then hit them with a healthy spoonful of chipotle sauce, give them a light drizzle of honey, then a quick squeeze of lime, throw in a little garlic paste, then we season with sazon, paprika, and oregano. And now you're gonna marinate until you lose patience. Now I've showed you how to make red rice multiple times. I'm gonna show you how to make a really nice yellow rice. Now the best rice always starts with ghee, and I'm gonna throw in sazon, a little chicken bouillon, and turmeric. Once the air is nice and aromatic, we're gonna need some washed basmati rice, and then very importantly, toast for a few minutes. Then you're gonna submerge this with your water, and then just cook according to the package instructions. To make our delicious sauce, I need 2 parts sour cream, 1 part mayo. Throw in a cute clove of heartburn. You can do the chipotles in adobo or regular chipotle sauce. Squeeze of honey gets it nice and sweet like you. Give this lots of lime juice. Just finish this off with salt, pepper, paprika, and oregano, and then we blend. And remember, it's not official until it's in a bottle. When you're ready to eat, drop your chicken in a hot oiled pan. While it's cooking, I like to drop in some minced onion, and that's just gonna result in some elite level chipotle chicken. The rice came out nice and fluffy like me. Lay down all your juicy chicken. You can never go wrong with some tomato and shredders. And we must load this up with sauce and fresh parsley to negate all the calories. And as always, now bismillah. Let me show you how to make the Dubai chocolate covered strawberries. I really wanted to hate on that, but those strawberries are delicious. To start, we need a healthy amount of phyllo dough. Then you just want to chop it up to get these cute tiny strands. And now we're gonna toast in some hot ghee. I suppose you could use butter, but ghee has a really nice nutty flavor. And then when the phyllo dough is lightly golden like me, you're gonna add in some tahina, aka sesame paste, and then also a spoonful of our pistachio cream. And then when you mix it up, it should kind of look like this. Now for the strawberries, I recommend using the smallest ones you could find. Then I just washed and cored them. And also a great topping for the texture is some chopped pistachios. To start our assembly, we're gonna need some cup with a wide base. Our first layer is going to be our shredded phyllo. Then drop in a few strawberries. Each one gets a little pistachio cream. Also a couple drizzles of melted chocolate. Then make sure each strawberry gets a little crushed pistachio. And then we're going to repeat this process, adding 1 more layer of phyllo dough, a few more strawberries so you're healthy, some more pistachio cream. Honestly, as someone who grew up eating lots of pistachio desserts, I never knew it would be this popular in the world. Anyways, we're going to need more chocolate, crushed pistachios. I'm sure you get the point by now. And as always, now bismillah. Given that was super easy to make, I would make those again. Let me show you how to make my mom's fattoush recipe. This is top 2 salad and it's not number 2. That is just packing flavor. To start, I got my romaine lettuce. My mom likes to just kind of turn them into thinner strips and then just make nice thin slices. Just transfer the romaine into the bowl you want to serve it in. My favorite vegetable in fattoush is actually the radish, but I like to thin slice them with a mandolin and then just get really thin matchsticks. Then I kind of just like to sprinkle them all over. Next, you have to use these Persian style cucumbers. Just slice this bad boy in half, and then you want to get these cute tiny half coins. This salad is so good to me because it is not lettuce dominant. It just has so much textures that I absolutely love. To introduce some color, we're gonna need some bell pepper. You can keep them slightly large here so they can compete with the rest of the ingredients. Also, am I the only one that finds therapy in cutting vegetables? For the cherry tomatoes, you can just slice them in half. And I'm gonna throw them on top of the firmer vegetables so they don't turn the lettuce soggy. I'm adding green onion. You can add red onion, but my family just feels like the red onion is way too strong. Now last but not least, the salad isn't fattoush without some fresh mint. You kind of just want to roll it up and slice through it. Along with our mint, we need some fresh chopped parsley. And now the fun begins. So 1 part freshly squeezed lemon juice. You'll do 3 parts really good olive oil, a very healthy palmful of sammat. You want to grate in some heartburn so it essentially melts. And then we need a hefty pinch of salt. And then last but not least, some pomegranate molasses. You can actually throw this in a jar and use it all week. Officially the best part, we're going to need some fresh pita. You also want to thin strip them and cube them. And then just fry them in really hot olive oil. And then when they're almost done, my mom has been recently hitting them with some za'atar. Dress it all up when you're ready to eat. Gentle toss. And then finish with your crispy chips. Lots of dried mint. And then finally, some pomegranate molasses. And as always, now bismillah. Let me show you how to make my incredible spicy caramelized onion pasta. Oh my god. I've already said this, that's gonna be some of the best pasta you'll ever make. To start, we're gonna need onions and lots of them. You just wanna peel them, halve them, and just make really thin slices. This pasta is so good it'll even make you cry for it. You have enough onions when you could fill an entire pan. Then we're just gonna drop in a knob of butter and a little bit of oil. Finish with a hefty pinch of salt and let these go low and slow. I repeat, you cannot lose patience with this recipe. Go make something else, you better show this one some love. After an hour, introduce some minced heartburn. Get generous with some Calabrian chili. Then I'm gonna add in a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. And then just continue cooking this on a nice low heat. Now when the onions are nice and golden like me, introduce lots of heavy cream. Once it lightly starts to bubble, hit it with some Italian snow. And then our al dente pasta goes in. For today, I'm using a bucatini noodle. Then add a little pasta water to pull everything together. Finish with a few more red pepper flakes. And then obviously something green to negate all those calories. And as always, now bismillah. Oh my god. I've already said this. That's gonna be some of the best pasta you'll ever make. The spicy version is a little bit better. Let me show you how to make some incredible butter chicken ramen. Honest to God, that is one of my favorite ramens of all time. Somehow it just makes sense. Yes, we need chicken thighs again that I'm going to turn into cute cubes, garlic ginger paste, a healthy spoonful of yogurt. Then we're going to give this a nice gulp of oil, a splash of lemon juice. And then instead of making our own masala, I got something special. This is not an ad, but I'm going to be using Fedwa's new butter chicken masala. I'm just supporting one of my homies, and I could smell this masala before even opening up the package. It looks amazing. And that masala is salt-free, so I'm going to add some. If you use code Ramadan, it'll be 15% off. Now, onto a sheet tray and into the oven at 425. And yes, you could also pan-sear this. Now in a pan with hot ghee, throw in an onion. As it sweats, squeeze in tomato paste. Give it more ginger and garlic. And then reintroduce that beautiful masala. When the air smells delectably aromatic, add in some cashews, 1 can of fire-roasted tomatoes, and then it's time for our heavy cream. All this needs is a quick blend, and then just drop in that beautifully cooked chicken. Now congrats, you just made butter chicken that's better than any takeout. To make this even better, I'm gonna cook down my ramen, strain most of the broth and add half the packet seasonings, and then just spoon over your butter chicken. Sauce it up. And as always, now bismillah. Now you gotta show that masala some love. It's amazing. Let me show you how to make my incredible spicy chicken shawarma. Oh my god. I've said this and I'll say it again. That's the best thing on my channel. Our marinade starts with a nice handful of heartburn. The star of the show is going to be this hot pepper paste. And usually you can find it at any Middle Eastern store. I'm going to go in with a nice spoonful. We need some full fat plain yogurt. In here you want a light drizzle of oil. I'm going to do a bottle cap full of vinegar, or you could do lemon juice. For our shawarma spices, I got cumin, coriander, allspice, a little cardamom, clove, paprika. And I like to add salt and some MSG. Into our blender this goes. Give this a quick pulse. This is one of those marinades that makes a flip-flop taste good. Now per usual, we're going to be using boneless, skinless thighs, and just remember you want to get really thin slices. Introduce them to the gorgeous marinade, and then we're going to marinate until we lose patience. To cook, you're going to throw a large sheet tray in the oven on a high broil. When sizzling hot, we're going to go throw you want to add in some tallow, spread the chicken out into a thin layer, and then we go into the oven on a high broil, flipping midway through. That process usually takes about 20 minutes. Now grab a mini bowl, line it up with aluminum foil, throw in a kiss of oil, then throw in a lit charcoal and cover to smoke. Time to dip your pita in the sheet pan drippings. You're going to smear it with doom. I already showed you how to make that. Lay in the smoked chicken. I'm actually using some spicy pickles. You want to tightly roll this up, and then we toast seam side down. In the meantime, I heated up some of that hot pepper paste with water and oil. Just gently brush it on as it toasts. Always finish with an extra dollop of doom, a little bit more chicken, and every bite gets just a little pomegranate molasses. And as always, now bismillah. Let me show you how to make chicken Alfredo garlic bread. Oh my god. To start, chicken thighs, get some salt, pepper, garlic, and paprika. Gently sear them off in a hot pan. And once they get a nice sear, I'm just gonna finish these off in the oven. Now in that same exact pan, I'm gonna go in with lots of heavy cream. And as this comes to a light bubble, make sure you scrape the bottom of the pan. And as soon as it starts to lightly argue back, I'm gonna go in with lots of Parmesan cheese. Now you're gonna drop the heat and let this go on simmer for a couple minutes. Since it's going on some garlic bread, we really want it to thicken up. For the bread, you could use Italian or French bread, but I've been really liking this ciabatta loaf. For my garlic butter, I just combine butter, garlic, and a little bit of parsley. I'm gonna smear a light layer on top of my bread. Then you're gonna throw them in the oven to get lightly toasted. During that time, we shall cube our rested chicken. You're gonna pull them out and just do a light layer of your Alfredo sauce and just spread out your chicken. You then want to spread out a very light layer of mozzarella cheese. Then finally, we're gonna toss this back into the oven on a high broil. To finish, we do a dusting of Parmesan cheese and greens to make it look pretty, because nothing's gonna negate these calories. Actually saved a little extra Alfredo sauce. And as always, now bismillah. Oh my god. The honest truth, it's not as heavy as you think. Let me show you how to make a Philly cheesesteak the right way. That is ridiculously good. To start, a Philly is properly made with some ribeye. I'm gonna grab the sharpest knife that I got, and I'm gonna get the thinnest shavings that I can. And this is the thinness that I like to aim for. In my first pan, I'm gonna go in with some tallow. And then when it's nice and hot, I'm gonna cook down my chopped onion. We simply want these to get a light char and start cooking through. Now, as the other pan starts to heat up, I'm gonna toss in the ribeye fat. When that's nice and melted, I'm gonna add in my ribeye steak. And then without overcrowding the pan, make this into a single layer and allow it to caramelize. Now, this is a good time to add in all those onions. Now, we're just gonna give this a very thorough chop. And then the last step is to season this with salt and pepper. To make your cheese whiz the right way, start warming up some milk. Then you want to start melting in some form of American cheese. Listen, I don't make the rules. This is how you make a proper cheese whiz. The original Philly does use provolone, so you could also do that.
You lost me with the American cheese. Wow.
To thicken this up, I'm going to lower the heat and add in some sharp cheddar. I'm going to lightly season this up so it's not bland. And now you have the perfect cheese whiz. Now in the pan, you're going to shape the meat into the size of the hoagie roll. Give it some cheese whiz love. And then just allow your hoagie roll to steam up for a few minutes. To get this out, I'm going to lay on some parchment. And then I'm going to confidently flip. You could do this with a plate. And as always, now bismillah. This is the only buffalo chicken dip recipe you'll ever need. Honestly, that is out of this world. To start, we need half white and half dark meat chicken. This will create optimal results. Please do not use pre-cooked chicken. The spices are also very important. In here, I have salt, pepper, garlic, cayenne pepper, smoked paprika, and smoked chipotle chili powder. It's time to generously oil up a hot pan, and then we're just gonna start searing off our beautiful chicken. The goal here is to get a nice crust and cook them through. You can easily air fry or bake the chicken. After the chicken is cooked and cooled, I like to finely chop it like this. I'm telling you, making the chicken yourself makes the biggest difference. Time to go in with your favorite buffalo sauce, ranch. Then I'm gonna add my favorite cheese, a 3-pepper Kobe Jack, then some sharp cheddar and mozzarella. This operation gets chives chopped as fine as you. See, you're not always crusty. And last but not least, some cream cheese. You're looking for a creamy texture, but you don't want it to be swimming. I'm gonna transfer this off into my baking dish. Just gently even it out. I'm gonna top it with the same cheeses that we used earlier. And then we're gonna bake at 375 for about 20 to 30 minutes. Just look how gorgeous she is. I'm gonna finish with some parsley to help negate all those calories. You wanna scoop it up with your favorite chip. And as always, now bismillah. If you make this, you will surprise yourself, I promise. I just made a tuna melt sub. So before this hack, I never used to eat raw red onion, but me personally, I like to get a really fine dice. And then you want to soak them in really cold water. This step makes them a lot more mild and enjoyable. And the last extra step I like to do is actually peel down my celery. There's just this outer membrane that I don't enjoy. And then for these, you just turn them into thin matchsticks. And you also want a really nice fine dice. I like to use the tuna that has no added salt or oil. And make sure the brand you're using is not on recall. That is not a joke or sarcasm. We need our soaked onions and celery. I like adding lots of fresh chopped parsley. You want to add relish or chopped pickles. I'm gonna add a little bit of this horseradish mustard. Trust me, add in some buffalo sauce. And because the tuna is dry and lean, it needs some mayo. We need paprika, garlic, salt, pepper, and sazon. Now you'll have an elite level tuna melt filling. And for this, the bread of choice is a nice hoagie roll. I sliced it open, I'm gonna oil it and toast it. Then do a layer of ultra thin Swiss and toast. When melty, our tuna goes on. This is actually a 3-pepper Gouda. And then officially one more toast. And as always, now bismillah. Let me show you how to make a Japanese style egg sandwich. That is so good. It is very important to not crack your eggs when you want to boil them. I like to just gently drop them into my empty pan, and then I'm going to quickly turn on the heat and dump in my boiling water. Do not overcook your eggs. I'm going to just let these cook for 8 minutes. And when they're done, they'll still continue to cook, so I recommend making an ice bath, and then just gently drop them in to stop their cooking. I feel like there's a million methods to crack your eggs. Let me know which one you think is best. As I spin, I like to give them a nice little tap, and then they should be easy to peel. I'm going to just give these a nice mash with my fork. Just give this a light squirt of Kewpie mayo, a light pinch of sugar, a decent pinch of salt, and what really makes it Japanese style is actually a splash of milk. To give this some color, you could do green onions or chives, and me personally, I'm gonna give this just a light dusting of cayenne pepper. And if you've noticed, I left some of the egg whites nice and whole just for the texture. Okay, to make this as accessible as possible, I'm gonna use this artisan white bread, but traditionally a Japanese white bread is used. If you'd like, you could trim off the sides, but I'm gonna keep them, and then I'm just gonna pile high our egg mixture. And I just tightly wrapped it, and I'm gonna slice in half. And as always, now bismillah. That is so good. So good. These are the lamb shanks you told Gordon not to worry about. Gordon, I found the lamb sauce. I'm gonna start by oiling up one of my favorite proteins, the lamb shank. And then I'm gonna season with smoked paprika, turmeric, allspice, salt, and pepper. Now for this operation, you need a pot with a lid, a Dutch oven, or a pressure cooker. Whatever you got and know how to use. The key here is to get a really nice sear. And then when they're nice and crusty like you, I'm gonna transfer them off to my pressure cooker. I'm gonna throw in lots of onion. I got rosemary, thyme, and parsley. And in here I have cinnamon, clove, black peppercorns, bay leaf, and cardamom. Drop in the bag of spices and love. This all gets covered in some broth or water, and then I'm gonna actually pressure cook this for an hour. If you're using a pot, bring it up to a boil, drop the heat and cover, and just keep in mind you're gonna have to go for several hours. For the rice, we're gonna start toasting down the same spices we used earlier. We're gonna use washed long grain basmati rice. Just start toasting it down, and then very importantly, we're gonna cook this in the lamb stock we worked so hard for. Then once it starts to boil, cover and drop the heat, then cook it following the package instructions, usually 15 to 20 minutes. I like to lay the rice on a flat tray, and then our beautiful lamb shanks. The shanks are absolute butter. Some chopped greens will bring this to life, and then some toasted pine nuts if you're feeling fancy. And as always, now bismillah. For me, it doesn't get better than that. Let me show you how to make my incredible Marry Me chicken pasta. Recipe so good, somebody might put a ring on it. To start, we need some chicken breast cutlets. I just split my breast and lightly even them out. I'm gonna be hitting them with some seasoned flour. In here, I have some salt, pepper, garlic, smoked paprika, oregano, and obviously some flour. I'm gonna lightly oil down my hot stainless steel pan, and then you wanna get a really nice crust on the chicken. The goal here is to get a nice crust and start developing a fond on the bottom of the pan. When they're nice and crusty like you, transfer them off to a baking dish, and then I'm gonna throw them into the oven at 350 to finish cooking. In the same pan, drop the heat and throw in some butter. Start cooking down your sun-dried tomatoes. When it starts to smell delicious, throw in some minced heartburn. And because I like heat, I'm gonna do some Calabrian chili. Deglaze this all with some veggie broth. And I'm just gonna start scraping away at all those little craggly bits. Also, keep in mind, the veggie broth adds volume to the sauce without making it too heavy. When everything's dancing together, drop in some heavy cream. I like to reinforce it with the same spices as earlier. Let this all talk to some Italian snow. And then drop in your al dente pasta. I'm doing linguine. Finish this operation with fresh basil so you're healthy. And then just crown it with your juicy chopped chicken. And as always, now bismillah. That is just pasta perfection. Let me show you how to make some incredible crispy birria tacos. Crispy birria might be the best taco on the planet. To start, we need ancho, arbol, and guajillo chilies. You want to pull their stem off and de-seed them, and then we submerge them in boiling water to really wake them up. Now, real quickly, I'm going to oil down a hot saute pan, and in here, we're going to toast our onion and heartburn, and then when that starts to crackle and pop, just go in with lots of tomato paste. Now, we're going to throw in all that goodness into our blender, follow that with our soaked chilies, and then we must season with cumin, coriander, and oregano, also a few bay leaves, and lots of salt and pepper. Splash in some of that chili water, and then this entire operation gets stock. I'm using vegetable. And then finally, we blend. For today's meat of choice, I'm using beef short rib and shank. The goal is to get a nice hard sear. When they look like this, drop them into your slower pressure cooker. Submerge them with your beautiful pepper broth. And then we're gonna pressure cook this for 35 minutes. The meat's done when it starts to fall apart like your life. And then just keep the shredded meat hydrated with some consomme. Hot and oiled flat top's gonna get our corn tortillas. And I'm not dipping them in the consomme right now so they get nice and crispy. When they're nice and malleable, I'm gonna go in with lots of Oaxaca cheese. Time to lay in your delicious birria. And then just fold them in half and get them nice and crispy. Inside we need onion cilantro. I personally like to dunk it in the consomme. And as always, now bismillah. Let me show you how to make some incredible short rib mac and cheese. Undoubtedly some of my best work. Incredible. To start, I'm gonna hit my short ribs with the sweet barbecue rub and then into the oven or smoker at 250 until they're nice and tender. Now, every time I make a mac and cheese, so many of you tell me it takes way too much time and sometimes you just don't feel like grating that much cheese. I'm gonna show you my 30-minute version. In an oven-safe pan, start melting down some butter. Then I'm gonna give it the same seasonings that we did earlier. And this mac and cheese doesn't require roux, so we're gonna go in with some heavy cream. Then you wanna keep this on a lower heat and bring it up to a light bubble. And since I'm pairing this with my short rib, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of barbecue sauce. And now you're gonna kill the heat and drop in your pre-shredded cheese. I'm doing sharp cheddar and Kobe Jack, and you'll have the easiest 10-minute mac and cheese sauce. Today's pasta of choice is rotini. Just get that sauced and glossed. I pulled the ribs out at about 145 degrees. They've been slow cooking, so they're nice and soft. I'm gonna paint on some barbecue sauce, and I'm gonna crank the oven to 450 and throw them back in to get crusty. Chop up some of the short rib and just mix it in. A quick layer of cheese, and then we toss this in the oven until nice and melty. Are you proud of me? I went light on the cheese this time. Center down a little bit more short rib, and then parsley to make this entire operation healthy. And as always, now bismillah. Let me show you how to make batata harra French fries. These came out ridiculously good. To start, our cloves of heartburn go into a mortar and pestle, a pinch of salt to loosen everything up, and then for this recipe, I like to turn them into a paste. Usually batata harra is made with cute potatoes. I'm gonna show you how to make this recipe a little bit faster. In a saute pan, start with some good oil. Then to that, we're gonna throw in our hot pepper paste. If you don't have access to this, you could easily use tomato paste. Keep the heat on a medium low, and you wanna kind of press it into the oil. When the notes of pepper paste are starting to hit your nose, add in your garlic. Sprinkle in lots of crushed red pepper flakes. And if you use tomato paste, go heavy on these. Now, to give this a little bit more body, we're gonna squeeze in lots of lemon juice. And now it's time to kill the heat and add in fresh cilantro. It should come out to this nice, beautiful paste. Listen to me, you can make your own fries. I promise you I'm not being lazy. But frozen French fries are simply gonna hold better with the sauce. You could air fry, oven bake, or even fry these. Time to throw in the hot pepper mixture. And you just want to get in there with your hands and give them a nice toss. And then just finish with lots of fresh cilantro. And as always, now bismillah. They resemble the regular batata harra, but their texture for me is way better. This is limonada de coco. And when I was in Puerto Rico, I had about 30 of these. To start, we need a can of coconut cream. And if you see some clumps, just incorporate them in. Next up is a can of coconut milk. So we're gonna need coconut cream and milk. Now again, I like to just whisk this up to make sure that there's no clumps and it's nice and smooth. Now it's time to actually squeeze in your lime. So you got 1 can of coconut cream, 1 can of coconut milk, and then I'm gonna go for about 6 to 8 limes, just depending on how juicy they are. You wanna roll the lime to release all its juice, slice in half, and I like to use some type of lemon squeezing contraption to speed up the process. We're looking for a slightly thick but smooth consistency. Even if you're not a big fan of coconut, I highly recommend this. It's honestly just so smooth and delicious. Now you can sweeten this with sugar, but I highly recommend some condensed milk, and in my opinion, that's just gonna add another layer of oomph. And then last but not least, you're gonna do a pinch of salt. That's just gonna bring out all the flavor. When you're ready to serve, go in with some ice. You could add some fresh lime for fun, add in the coconut lemonade, and then we shake. And as always, na bismillah. It is so smooth and delicious. Let me show you how to make an incredible crispy fish sandwich. Oh my god. Honestly, that is insane. To start, very importantly, salt down your cod, and I'm gonna throw them into the fridge for about 15-30 minutes. Eventually, that'll pull their moisture out, and you're just gonna pat them dry. The fish batter is super simple. To some regular flour, you're gonna add some rice flour, then sprinkle a little baking powder, and then I bought this beautiful barbecue rub from the homies out at Colony. I'm gonna get nice and generous, and then to this, I'm gonna add a light sprinkle of curry powder and salt. To make our sauce, you're gonna start with half mayo, half ground mustard, some chopped up pickles or relish, just a quick gulp of Worcestershire sauce, then a quick dash of hot sauce, and just a splash of lemon juice and a pinch of salt. I'm gonna let you finish the sentence in the comment section. You put the sauce on a flip-flop. When you're ready to fry, drizzle in some cold sparkling water. Then you're gonna dip the fish in some seasoned flour, then drop it into the wet batter, then drip off the excess moisture and fry. Then 5 to 7 minutes later, pull it out and hit it with some salt. I'm gonna take some of that barbecue rub from earlier and just brush it on with some oil. Now to assemble, a toasted brioche gets 3 pepper Kobe Jack, then a quick torch, and I mix some cabbage with the sauce we made earlier. Time to lay on the beautiful fish. Since they are thin, I'm doing 1 more slice of cheese, a little bit more sauce, and then some fresh chives so we're healthy. And as always, now bismillah. In Ramadan, I obsess over this drink. It's a banana date smoothie that I make for suhoor, but this time around, I have pointers and adjustments. Each serving starts with the following. We need 3 whole pitted dates, 1 small banana or half a large, 1 spoonful of your favorite Greek yogurt. To give this really good macros, you're gonna go in with a scoop of your favorite protein, and I would recommend something vanilla based. You could do a spoonful of peanut butter or peanut butter powder. Now the peanut butter part is optional. Now this operation gets a sprinkle of cinnamon, and for my high fiber folks, this is when you add chia seeds. If you're lactose, use oat or almond milk, but now it's time to add a cup of it. And now we blend. With 2% milk and low-fat Greek yogurt, this comes out to 600 calories and about 40 grams of protein. Fun fact, the banana date smoothie is one of my first Ramadan recipes I have ever uploaded. And as always, now bismillah. This is a great bulking smoothie as well. Let me show you how to make some incredible loaded taco fries. These are smothered, covered, and just absolutely incredible. I can legit eat this entire tray. As your pan gets hot, throw in some oil, throw in your ground beef. You should hear a sear. I've showed you how to make taco meat multiple times. Just give this a nice chop. As it comes to life, I like to throw in an onion and then just a little minced heartburn, because why not? Now, I know I've always encouraged you to make your own taco seasoning, but a lot of you told me to try this, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add in my seasoning packet. God damn, boy, that's a lot. Then just give it a quick mix. And then the directions say to add in a 1/3 cup of water. Please do not dry out the meat. It should look and feel like this. Listen, if you'd like, you can make your own French fries, but to really speed up this process, I'm just gonna use some frozen fries and throw them in the oven. Also, I'm gonna be using the cheese sauce from the Philly cheesesteak video. You could also do a queso or regular shredded cheese. A nice shake will tell you if they're crispy. I'm gonna load them up with our taco meat. I like to add some pico for some freshness. Just smother these with your favorite taco sauce. And then you wanna cheese this up to your liking. I need the cheese for the first shot. And as always, now bismillah. For the last month, I've made these at least twice a week. They're a great post-workout. I just go easy on the cheese. Let me show you how to make some incredible spicy beef arayes. Out of this world. To start on our mix, we need onions and parsley. And to this, we're gonna add a few cloves of heartburn. And if you're new here, heartburn means garlic. I'm gonna throw in half a jalapeno with its seeds. And then I'm just gonna give this a nice fine blitz. And I always like to make sure I scrape down the sides and then just make this paste nice and fine. This next step is optional, but I like to squeeze out some of that moisture so the bread doesn't get soggy. It's time to add in your ground beef. I'm using 90-10. And for maximum flavor, use a higher fat meat. If you want this to be macro friendly, just use the lean stuff. We're gonna season with a nice pinch of Aleppo pepper. And then we're gonna do paprika, cayenne pepper, salt, pepper, and garlic. I like to just throw on a glove and give this a nice massage. Next, you want a half a pita and turn it into a pocket. And then we're gonna gently start stuffing it with our meat. I'll be the first to admit, I used to overstuff these. This is the new thickness that I recommend. These will cook all the way through within a few minutes. Now I'm gonna brush mine with a little chili infused oil. Toss the oil side down into your pan. And then we're just gonna brush some oil on the other side. And just make sure you constantly flip them, cooking all their sides. And as always, now bismillah. Out of this world. Let me show you how to make some incredible honey barbecue chicken tenders. Ramadan recipes are gonna go crazy this year. I have no doubt you're gonna think these are the best tenders you'll ever have. You're gonna hit your tenders with a handful of flour. To season, I got salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, chili powder, paprika, and cayenne pepper. Generously seasoned. Then you wanna mix this all up and allow these tenders to essentially dry out. Now, I've showed you this before. To our flour, we're gonna add in some cornstarch, give this a little baking powder, and then finish with the same seasonings we just used. Now, you wanna transfer 1/3 of that mixture into another bowl. And you're gonna crack in some type of club soda, anything that has some fizz. It should resemble a really thin pancake batter consistency. Drop the dry tender into the wet batter, then into the dry. One last time into the wet, and then just finish into the dry. Just always remember that is wet, dry, wet, dry. To make our honey barbecue, we're gonna need some ketchup, and sprinkle a healthy amount of brown sugar. Then we're gonna need some apple cider vinegar and Worcestershire sauce. Just give this mixture a healthy amount of your favorite hot sauce. And last but not least, honey's gonna get it nice and sweet like you. Then just nubs of cold butter to make it nice and smooth. This is one of those sauces that'll make a flip-flop taste good. It's time to drop them into oil set at 350. After 5-6 minutes, allow them to rest, and then back in for 1 minute to get nice and golden like me. I dipped mine in some ranch, and as always, now bismillah.